...2017 started off with a bang, with the arrival of our newborn baby boy, Mark Anthony Prickett III. Here, go to your bench. Go to your bench. It is almost 2 a.m. I just had my 5th bottle in like an hour, and I'm about to pass out. What's up, Grandma? Luckily for us, he quickly adapted to the sights and sounds of our gym as we began the grueling 12-week grind toward our first competition in over a year. Okay. Close. Go slower. Alright. Let's walk through this. Alright. The first person I usually contact when I'm ready to get back on the table is my teammate and good friend, Jody Williams. You're still a little high. In the arm wrestling world, he's known as Chocolate Thunder.
I am Jody Williams. A lot of people call me Chocolate Thunder. I've been arm wrestling for 7 years now. Let's see here. 5 big tournaments in the West region. I would say LA Expo, okay, the Anaheim Expo, the US Open, you got the Europa in Phoenix, Arizona, and you can toss a coin because you have the Brazil Cup in Utah. That's always a good one. That takes place in November. The US Open, in my opinion, is the most prestigious tournament on the West Coast. We've had tournaments in the past that included John Brzezinski, Kenny Hughes, Tom Nelson, Chris Chandler, Jordan Seal, list goes on and on. So in my opinion, that is the tournament that we all look forward to in the Northwest around the month of April and May. So it's like college football. You win the Rose Bowl when you live in this area. It's a big thing. And when you win that, that's how you know you made it in this region of arm wrestling.
After further discussion and analyzing which tournaments we wanted to compete in this year, we decided the US Open would be the best tournament to make our return to the table.
The last couple US Opens, like last year, who was there? Ryan Clark. Matt Taylor was there. Jacob
That was huge.
Yeah, fucking Seal, Topi, Hoffman, Mac
Telly. McIntyre. The US Open is put on by Bill Collins and his son Chris. Bill has been arguably one of the best promoters and head referees in the sport of arm wrestling for over the last decade. It's traditionally a very high quality event that attracts some of the best arm wrestlers from the surrounding states, making it the largest arm wrestling tournament in the Pacific Northwest. My wife had her first super match at the US Open last year in 2016, which she was able to win 3-0. Now, it was time to get to work. Okay, so this is my training program. I created this program to get me as strong as I possibly could functionally. My number one goal is functional strength. My arm wrestling tournament coming up is obviously a strong influence in my training program. In my opinion, to be the best arm wrestler you possibly could be, you want to establish where you're weak, not necessarily where you're strong. It's a basic 4-day split. I have a pressing, a pulling, a leg, and an arm day. The first box is my compound movements, the important strength movements. The second box are the supporting exercises or auxiliary exercises that help get my compound movements stronger. And the third box down here, kind of a mixture of things, some exercises I just added in, some new machines that I built that I added in, and you know, sometimes I'd like to put, eventually I'm going to have more of the isolation exercises in there. My arm day, I wanted to break down my arm day into whatever components I thought were important. to make my arm wrestling as strong as possible. So for like rising, I chose certain bicep exercises that I could see my progress on. So for week 1, I may have started off with 190 pounds or 200 pounds. Start off as my baseline set, and I wanted to establish a certain goal within that 12 weeks. And I wanted to be able to basically within that 12 weeks work my way toward that goal, and eventually try to break a PR and establish a new PR. A lot of injuries that I had to train around, and I have to manipulate my training and my decisions on what exercises I choose to train that day according to how I'm feeling. So if I'm not feeling very strong in a certain movement, I just don't train. Or if I'm not feeling strong, if I don't feel like that I can hit a PR that day, then then it just wouldn't be wise for me to train. I choose to either do active recovery or just not train at all. I started training for the US Open after the first week of February. The 6 weeks prior to this, my training was heavily focused on reintroducing heavy compound movements so that I could stimulate and prepare my central nervous system for the conditioning it would need for this coming strength cycle. My pressing movements would include heavy barbell presses, dumbbell presses, hammer strength presses, weighted dips, and heavy lying tricep extensions. My pulling movements were heavy T-bar rows, hammer strength rows, single arm dumbbell rows, cable rows, table rows, and pull down movements. For legs, I focused on box squats, lockout squats, hack squats, and various forms of deadlifts. My arm training included barbell curls, table curls, cable curls, and static holds to work the rising components of arm wrestling. For pressing, I used table presses, press downs, and single arm tricep extension. For cupping, I used my forearm machine, wrist machine, and cable system with various attachments. Lastly, for rotation, I use pronated curls, supinated press downs, and my rotation wheel. Now for the results. Although my lower body movements were not a primary concern in this program, I was able to gain an average of almost 10% in all my lower body lifts. My pressing had significant gains as well, adding 11 reps to my bench press, 35 pounds to my overhead press, and 5 reps to my lying tricep extensions, to name a few. My pulling exercises did just as well, gaining an average of 40 pounds to all my rowing movements. Because of the specificity of the program, my arm exercises received the most consistent gains, reaching every goal I set for each movement and breaking several all-time PRs. When the program was completed and the last weight had been lifted, all of the physical elements of strength that make me an arm wrestler were now ready for war.
Top rope, no! Top rope, no! Top rope, no, I don't think so.